All right, I'm going to say something very harsh, but it's very true. This is basically a symbolic of what a liberal Jew is. A pretzel.
A pretzel?
What does that mean, a pretzel? A person who bends himself out, in and out, to satisfy somebody else, basically. And what do I mean by that? Unfortunately, people who are second-class citizens, third-class citizens, fourth-class citizens, have to get used to being part of the minority. And minorities always have to kowtow to the majority. That happens in our societies. When Indians come from India to America, what happens to them? They start learning English and so forth. And many times you'll see in documentaries, they give away and they forget about their history and their culture. That also happened to the Jewish people in many cultures, especially when they came to America 100 years ago. So what happens is, I myself know this very well, because I lived in America for many years. And slowly, you don't realize it, begin to kowtow to American ideals of what? Not ideals of Americans, but people around you. And what I mean by that, the great Kirk Douglas, there originally was not Kirk Douglas, had a different name, right? Is it Dmitrovich? And also Eddie G. Robinson, all these great actors and so forth. But later on, they changed their names. And they've been telling when they're Jewish. Kirk Douglas did, but others didn't, because they wanted to fit in. So when you want to fit in, what happens is, you bend with a pretzel. Now how does this happen? Because what happens when you are a minority, you have to survive. Now the Republican Jewish Party is unique. Why it's unique? Because all of you are standing up as proud Jews. And all you are telling everyone else that I'm going to be a proud Jew and I don't have to kowtow to the liberal concept of saying I have to have their religion. And each one of you here in this room has something unique. If you close your eyes for one moment and you really understand that each one of you are descendants of 4,000 years of incredible dedication, history, also guts, grit, determination. The fact you're all here after 4,000 years means your family, in each one of your families, they went be it the European Holocaust or a Sephardic Holocaust, maybe Spanish Inquisition, or they went to other types of persecution. But each one of them, for 4,000 years, took the torch of Torah and mitzvot, commandments, and masim tovim, good deeds, and passed it from father to son, from mother to daughter, for 4,000 years. And the truth of the matter is, we are the ones who brought light to the world. Christianity and Islam and all the other isms of the world and the ideology of the world come from us. So we should stand up first, be proud of ourselves, and tell the world that we're not going to kowtow to your way. Just the opposite. We're going to be the leaders that we're supposed to be the leaders of.
Yes.
Now, to understand something about this, if I could just a few more minutes to speak. I just saw a video yesterday, and I finally understand why the word mega, you make America great, is so offensive to many people. I never thought about this. I never would think this would be the answer. What do you think why mega is so bad? When you people see mega, it's terrible to them. Do you know why? You know why they say that? Because they say, when was America great? Do you mean great in time when there's slavery, or great in time when women couldn't vote, or great in time when people were put away in different Japanese camps and so forth? When was America great? So when they say the word great, they don't see what we see. America is great by definition. How so? It changed the world. People came together over 240 years ago and said, we're going to create a country based on freedom, liberty, equality, fraternity, based on the fact that we're going to give our lives for the ideal that each human being has the right to have his own life and pursue life, liberty, and pursue happiness. That being America, so America is great from the beginning. In fact, more so, the fact that America has been able to change in 240 years to go from slavery to freedom, to go from the women couldn't vote to voting, to go where there was no civil rights, where people had civil rights. That's change, that's greatness, that's America. And that is the America of Trump. That is the America of the Republican Party. Because if you think about it, what is the Republican Party all about? It's about bringing family. It's about the American dream. It's about the American worker. It's about showing the whole world what Trump has done in just 3 years. Example, the largest tax cut, pulling back regulations, right? Supreme Court Justice 2, them. Nikki Haley in the UN, fighting against the whole world to get rid of all the anti-Semitism in the UN. Stopping tax dollars to the PLO. Closing the PLO office in Washington, D.C. Having a sitting president visiting, first time the Kotel, the Western Wall. Canceling the Obama deal. Now, the Obama deal is terrible. Do you know, there's a video right now on YouTube that was made in 2010 by Professor Richard Rubenstein, and it's from Harvard University. And he said, 10 years ago, I can guarantee you the next 2-3 years, Obama will give the Iranians the ability to destroy Israel. No one listened to him, and he did that, Obama. And what did Trump do? He goes to the UN, and this is courage, incredible moral courage. He tells the UN, to Venezuela, and to the Koreans, the North Koreans, and to Iran, and so forth. He went into the Arab lines then in Saudi Arabia and said, stop your terrorism, stop your evil, stop doing things that's going to create havoc and destruction and so forth. Be faithful to your real Judaic, Christian, Islamic faith of peace, of harmony, and so forth, if you really are religious people. That's tremendous courage. And instead of the American left saying, wow, this is a man of principle, they denounce him, they dehumanize him. That's evil, that's terrible. They take words that he says out of context, and then they say, you see, this is Trump. Not at all. A man who has the courage to go into Saudi Arabia and tell the Arab states, it's time to buckle up, it's time to say no to terrorism, is a great patriotic man. A man who can recognize that Jerusalem is our capital is a great man. A man who can say the first person in American history to make a law that anti-Semitism is a hate crime, that we are a race and we should be treated as such and be respected, is a great man.
Yes.
This is a phenomenal person who should be the leader for the next 4 years. So I want to stand with this. I want to thank God for this wonderful opportunity. I want to thank all of you for being here. And I want to thank my wife, who encourages me to do these things. And that the thing that's so important is that we have to understand the following. That we're living in a generation where really it's good against evil. It really is. It's good against evil. We are living, they're trying to make us divisive, and they're trying to make division between us. There's no division between human beings. We're all made in God's image. We're all, be it black person, be it Spanish person, be it Latino person, be it someone from a different culture, be it someone from a different religion, we're all in God's image. The fact that Trump is making a law that all babies are holy and babies should be protected shows the kind of man he is. And instead of encouraging him, what does the left do? Oh, he's a terrible man, he's an evil man. Just the opposite. We have to tell everyone we meet, and every Jewish person we meet and tell them, yeah, prove to me he's bad, yes? A man can go into the UN and tell the UN for the first time in history, even Netanyahu can't do that. He's a very courageous man, Bibi. Bibi even said he acknowledged himself. What Trump has done, tell the whole UN that you're full of evil people. Bibi says, I am a commando, I fought, I've given my life and so forth, I've been injured. But the courage that Trump displays is incredible. And we have to take that type of courage, and we have to stand up and be proud Jews and tell those around us and say, the Republican Party is a party that chooses good, not evil. That's why we became Republicans, because we see now in the last 2 years that Democrats have betrayed us. They really have betrayed us. My mother, may she rest in peace, was an American, and she told me how great it was at the time of Roosevelt. But when she found out what Roosevelt did, my goodness, she said to me, how we were duped, how we were duped. Instead, just the opposite, and I'll end with this note. Who was the one, because of him, 7 years later, 76 years later, that we have proof of the concentration camps? You know who it was? It was a Republican, Eisenhower. When Eisenhower came to the camps, he said, now take your cameras and shoot as much as you can, because one day I can guarantee you there'll be people out there who will deny this. He was so right. The Republicans saved the Holocaust as a memory that should never be forgotten. And we have to continue and be strong and be proud of our heritage, because as the Torah tells us, we have to be the light unto the nations. There's a book I've written, but that's something else. What I do want to say to you is now, it's another thing. Why I'm in America for, because they're representing now the Jews. The Jews are the only non-Jewish nation, as a nation, in Israel, who stand shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish people. They are 120,000 people. They are descendants of Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses. And in the last 76 years, 505 of their sons have fallen in battle. 1,500 have been injured in terrorism because they fought against and to protect Jewish people against terrorist attacks. And now the Jewish people in Israel want to show kindness and gratitude. So now there's a special high-tech center in Haifa that's being made for the Druze. So if you have, I will send to Ms. Gordon the special link. If you can just go and say thank you to the Druze, the DRZIM, the Druze of Israel, and tell them thank you so much for helping us, and that we continue to support you as you support us.